Hello, Watem here, welcome back to small Umineko When They Cry. Let's continue. Nation quieted. However, no one. Why? They could have shot if they'd wanted to. All of his Jester troops had completely targeted her and removed their safeties. Of course, all of them had finished reactivating. So, is there potential of hitting Erica with a crossfire? However, they hesitated to pull the trigger.
なぜ射殺せぬことなりや。式典警備役は直ちに。松野です。あれは
Territory Lord Ring? Lana's expression grew grim. Then, she quietly put her red longsword away. After all, Erica would have to make a decision. If she decided to ignore it, they could shoot to kill. However, Erica picked that up. They must not do so. So, they couldn't pull the triggers until Erica decided.
どうして誰も撃たないの？よく見なさいよ、あれ。ベアトがエリカに投げつけたあれよ。
Is it a glove? Lambda Delta pointed, still chomping down popcorn. I wonder where that piece of popcorn came which deflected the sword. It was hard to see from the balcony. Later had thrown something like a white handkerchief at Erica. It had fallen to Erica's feet. What's that white thing?
わかってるわ、あいつ。
Challenge to a duel, perhaps?
主役ってもんを本当によくわかってるわ。面白いじゃないですか。
Thing that had hit Erica in the face and fallen to the floor. The white glove that Beata had gotten from Ronaldo. Hitting someone with a glove like that could only mean one thing. It was.
ゼタル、これは何？どういう意味なの？
これは決闘の申し込みさ。手袋を拾えばそれを受け入れることを意味する。
拾わなければシエスタたちが殺してくれるわ。拾う必要ないじゃない。
She feels like she has an absolute advantage, and that's. See. And if she just lets the Siesta sisters shoot, then they're stealing her fun?
拾わなくてもいいさ。でも決闘を逃げたおめえを僕らと参列の悪魔処刑は3回全てに知らしめるだろうね。恋の決闘を逃げた臆病者の名を永遠にね。
Beatrice waited firmly and composedly. Erica had just kicked it away. Then at that very instant, Justice would probably fire all fire at once, turning her into golden embroidery. So, Erica didn't have to pick it up. However, she could not afford to be afraid of picking it up. After all, she was the true victor, who defeated battlers close-range trick and logic. She was the victor. She should have nothing to fear. So, if she was afraid of doing it, it would prove that she still felt a tinge of doubt about her victory.
拾わなければ私はこの衣装を汚すことなくあんたを殺してしまいますね。それも披露宴の余興には面白い。だがそなたは拾うさ。へえ、どうしてです？わらわがそなたにぴったりの最高の土産を持ってきたからだ。そなたはそれが知りたい。だから拾うさ。興味ないです。さようなら。
拾うさ。わらわが持ってきたバトラの客室などくだらぬ。もっとシンプルで単純で絶対に解けぬ密室をそなたは聞きたいはずさ。
絶対解けぬ密室。
そなたはわらわの挑戦を受けたいはずさ。なぜならそなたは
Huh?
探偵だからだ。
Uh-huh. Erica threw off her wedding dress as though it were a cape. Yes, before she's a bride or a piece of witch, or a witch rather, she's one thing first and foremost.
私は探偵です。
Oh, you declare that you are the detective?
あなたを私の対戦相手に認めます。ただ、あなたはこのゲームに登場する資格をロジックエラーは修正できたんでしょうね。
その手袋を拾えばそなたとの戦いの中でそれが修正できたことを証明しようぞ。
Oh. The cathedral was filled with chatter. Erica had picked up the glove. A duel! A duel! The cathedral was wrapped in a bizarre excitement. At Erica's nod, Lana pushed the crowd away, even the pair alone. People were permitted to witness this duel. However, no one would be allowed to interfere in any way.
バトラさん、大丈夫です。あなたを助ける方法はもう見つけました。
How?
今、あなたを助け出します。もうしばらくだけ辛抱してください。
Beato's resolute expression returned, and she grinned boldly, looking down on Erica. Ah, there can be no doubt. That's the expression worn only by the Golden Witch, the presence of a master of closed rooms. Shadow dashed through the stormy rose garden. It was incredibly light and swift. The raindrops never touched him. He made no splashes in the countless puddles. His feet left no tracks in the mud. That rushing figure was Cannon. Then he ran up the stairs to the entrance of the mansion. He did not slow down in the slightest to open the door. He ran straight at it as though trying to break through. He leapt into it. Though the door was shut, even that couldn't stop Cannon. He slipped through the door, fell into the entranceway, and slowly stood up. His body wasn't even wet. And, as he recalled those nostalgic days spent serving the Ishramir family, which would never come again, he ran once more. He was heading for Battler's guest room. He ran past the servant room, through the entrance hall, past the door to the parlour. Then the doors to the kitchen and the dining room hall came into sight. All of it brings back fond memories. There was the honour and rigidity of serving Kinzo directly. However, that man wasn't rigid all the time. The family was out of sight and he didn't have to preserve that air of majesty. His face could turn unbelievably childish. He would sometimes ask me to take part in strange pranks. Master let me shoot lots of guns, didn't he? That was pretty fun. Ralston was actually surprisingly kind. I must have gotten the impression that Master bullied me a lot. Whenever I was anyone around, he would talk to me in a very familiar way, almost as though he was a classmate of mine. I sort of regret that I held back and never did anything but nod in return. That's a nice image to have. Madam was a really strict person. Ever since some rumour went around saying that she was strict on female servants but soft towards male servants, I get the feeling she viewed me as an enemy. However, she was also a woman to be pitied. When I've seen her alone, I've noticed her shoulders sag with the pain many times. There were a lot of servants, weren't there? Some lasted a short while, others stayed a long time. Genji-sama was the one person I might have called my father. I am both grateful and resentful towards him over many things. They all mix together, cancel out, and end up with a neutral emotion. In that case, Kumasawa could probably be called my mother. She's helped me out many times. I've always wanted to repay her someday. Now, I've lost that chance for all time. Shannon. My Mason. Without her, I wouldn't have been able to be me. Thanks for teaching me that the ocean is blue. Gorda? I hate that guy. Still, when I complimented his stew, he would sometimes turn red and say that it was enough for seconds. I didn't dislike that part of him. I wonder why such a strong memory popped up the instant I ran past the dining hall. Then, my memories of Jessica. Oh. It's a boy servant. How old are you? I think those were the first words she spoke to me. Come to think about it, she was probably interested in me ever since then. I really did have enough time to build up a love for at least George, Summers and Shannon's. But since I could only see the grey sea, I wasted almost all of that time. What does she not like about me? What do I like about her? I get the feeling we never really made that clear. No, she told me. We should have stayed together longer to eventually find that out. It would have been fine to find reasons for our love later. It took me far too long to realise that. Now, I think I can accept it. I know why Shannon won the duel. God must have been watching. He had so much more courage than I did. God didn't abandon me. I reached the hallway of the guest rooms. There was someone lying on the ground. Battler. He was lying just outside the guest room, a chain tied to his neck. He'd probably struggled to do something with the chain lock from the outside until he lost consciousness. His fingernails on both hands had been torn off, and they were stained with blood. I could tell at a glance just how hard he had tried until the final moment when his heart had died. Collar binding him wouldn't disappear unless a chain lock was set.
バトル様、大丈夫です。今、お助けします。
Battler responded faintly. He probably hadn't even imagined that help would come to this eternal closed room. He was so scared that this might be an auditory hallucination brought about by a fleeting delusion, that he couldn't bear to open his eyes easily. Cannon grabbed Battler by the arms, dragged him into the room. The inside of the room was terrible. Windows had been brutally shattered, and wind and rain had made its way inside. Kinds of tools and furniture lay broken there. However, Battler hadn't smashed them out of rage. The curtain had been removed, torn, and twisted up into a bundle. Probably used trial and error to see if that could be used as rope for some trick. He had tried using everything in the room, exploring all possible options of escape. Traces could be seen throughout the room, and even in the bathroom. The empty bathtub was stained with just a bit of blood, and the nippers lay there at the bottom. Breakfast tale. He had nearly been prepared, except Bern Castell's brutal method of escape, cutting himself into pieces and washing himself down the drain. He was even willing to tear apart his own body, to protect the game that Beato had entrusted him with. He'd probably questioned himself over and over in this bathtub, wondering if there was any other way out. With the clock of the game world, not even a single day had passed. However, just how many years has it been in the closed room of the logic era? And faced with an endless span of time, any way of ending it, no matter how cruel, is tempting. However, he'd rejected that until the very end. And, even in the last moment when his heart died, he'd wanted so much to show his iron will to escape from this closed room, he'd chosen to fall here in the corridor, the chain still around his neck.
バトラ様、カノンです。どうかお気をしっかり。
He wiped Battler's face with a towel wetted in the sink. In response to that cold sensation, Battler's heart slowly started beating again.
Kanon君か。
そうです。カノンです。よくぞ今日まで。
ちょいと寝坊が過ぎたみてえだ。
Butler realized that the feel of the towel on his neck meant that the cursed collar and chain were gone.
もうバトラ様を縛るものは何もありません。さあ早くお戻りください。
でもよ。
Right, you?
あのチェーンを開けるとまた鎖につながれちまう。
大丈夫です。もうバトラ様を縛る鎖は存在しません。僕がここに残ります。
なんだって。
By now, Battler knew the terror of this endless closed room better than anyone else. So, it was more filled with shock than happiness. Shock of the determination of one who was willing to become the new prisoner.
僕は大丈夫です。何も心配することはありません。
しかし
バトラ様はまだやらなければならないことが終わりなのではないですか。
俺は
早くお戻りを。あなたの代わりに戦っている人がいる。そしてあなたの帰りを待っている人がいる。あなたはまた帰らないのですか。
Stern words and gaze shot straight through Battler.
本当にいいのか。
Yes, go out there and then rescue me afterwards.
はい、それでいいんです。これであの時の借りが返せるのですから。
借り？俺カノン君に何か。
バトラ様の借りではありません。
Beatrice?
いいから言ってください。僕は借りを作らない主義なんです。さあ早く。あなたは今度こそ待たせてはいけないんです。だから早く。
Battler couldn't argue back anymore. Silently bowed his head, unset the chain, and opened the door. Annan had remained in the room, so no chain appeared about Battler's neck. He could leave this closed room just by running out. happy-sounding voices that he had heard at the far end of the corridor had been replaced with an excited chatter. There must have been some sort of strange disturbance going on. As Cannon went out into the corridor to see me off, the merciless collar and chain had already captured their new prisoner, who would remain inside this endless closed dream and battleless place.
カノン君、俺もだぜ。
何がですか？
俺も借りを作らない男だぜ。この恩は必ず返す。それもすぐにだ。
期待していいやら。さあ、走って。あなたの愛する人のところへ。そしてどうか、もう二度と迷わないで。
Adler didn't turn back again. He ran with everything he had. He ran out into the corridor, whose warmth he had cursed so many times. That cursed chain no longer bound him. He ran to the very end of the corridor, beyond the light. Cannon, still connected to the chain, watched him go, and quietly returned to the guest room. Now, he only had to worry about his own job. Stay in this room. Fix the error in logic.
これでチェーンロックをかけて。
As soon as he set it, the chain disappeared from his neck. Then, if he hid in the one place Erica hadn't checked, the broken logic would be fixed. The closet door opened slowly. It's well oiled and opened without a sound. Cramped inside and dark. It's a tiny space. It's the last place I'll see. As long as I remain hidden in here, the logic will be preserved.
簡単な仕事だな。バラの手入れより簡単さ。
Cannon went in it, and closed the double doors from the inside. As soon as he did, a single small gold butterfly appeared, melted into the darkness of the closet, and vanished. It was a sign that the logic had been fixed. The Witcher's game had already stopped. The clock of the world of pieces would never tick again. So, for all eternity, no one would come to save him from this place.
別にいいさ。これで借りは返したよ。ベアトリーチェ。
The power of the gold butterfly brooch taught me about love. In the third game, it gave me some quiet time alone with Jessica. I get the feeling it did many other small things for me. At any rate, I've paid back all of my debts now. Now, all of my debts are...
ジェシカが貸してくれた。返してないや。いいよね、ジェシカ。あれ、気に入ってたんだ。だから、プレゼントにしてもらってもいいかな。ダビングして渡すから、ダメ。
Slowly, Cannon's body began to melt into a cloud of gold butterflies. And, after the inside, the cramped dark closet glittered like a golden planetarium, faded away like the light of butterflies, oh, fireflies rather, and was painted over by a pitch blackness for all eternity. Cathedral, ghost attendants who are all jostling around either side of the red carpet. On the red carpet, standing across from each other, are Beato and Erica, with hands over pistols given to them by Zeppo and Fufu.
フリントロック式ですか。また古墳。
気にするな。悪魔というのは様式美にこだわるものでな。
The form was similar to an actual old-fashioned gun. This was, of course, a demon's gun. It wasn't a gun that would propel a lead bullet with an explosion caused by gunpowder. Like the pistols used in the duel between Shannon and Cannon, whose bullets had contained a magic that would always kill. Pistols also had bullets that were not made of lead. But red and blue truce?
ベアト、心配の必要はないわよ。あっさり勝ってまたリーアは悪態の日々だわ。
この勝負が終わりましたら、たまには有給を申請してみましょう。私、この戦いが終わったら、たまにはぶらりとカリブの方へ船旅に出よ
う。この勝負が終わったらはやめとけって。決闘前に演技でもないわ。ベアと緊張感を持ってヘラヘラ笑ってる場合じゃありません。
Of the perfect time to stand around laughing? Not now, then when?
なんでリーチがリラックスしててリーアが緊張してんのよ。もう
せーの。ベアトリーチ様、しっかり。
ベアトリーチ様に不利な一騎打ちだ。
どうして？本来魔女は手数で勝負できる。ところがゲームが中断されたため、手持ちはバトラ様の客室の謎くらいしかないのよ。エリカはその謎だけ青きくさびでうがっても全ての謎を解明したことになってしまう。勝てるわよ。ベアトリーチェ様とバトラ様の我らが二人の主を私は。お呼びですか？ありがとう。珍しく勝ちも負けも五分五分だと思ってます。だから先にお礼を言っときます。すべて職務です。感謝の必要はありません。あんたが前回のゲームの時、私がボロクソに負けたのをかばってくれた時嬉しかった。私生まれてから誰かにかばわれたのあれが初めてだった。
So really, Erica wanted to marry Lano?
我が主にさえ私はかばわれたことがない。私が主に与えられたのは暴かれた真実に暴き返すことで自分の痛みを打ち消すという傷つけ合いの仕方だけでした。
傲慢をお許しください。私は守らねばと思いました。
How touching.
あなたがどんなか弱い真実で生き、それをよりもっともらしい虚実の横暴で虐げられてきたか察した時、あなたを守りたいと思いました。
ありがとう。短い間だったけどあんたは最高のパートナーでした。
これからもです。
そうですね。あいつを倒したらあんたと一緒にこの島でいっぱいミステリーを作りましょうそしてそれをあんたに出題していじめて遊ぶ。どうです？
気に入りました。あなたの挑戦楽しみにしています。
あ、嘘ごめん今の撤回です。こういうの負けフラグって言うんでしょ
さあいいかい、二人の決闘者たち。
Are we ready though? I'm not sure we are, so let's leave out for next time. I hope you've enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And until said next time.